Time is now 6:30. We are in session. Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You can join us at the meeting in the Zoom link provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary or by calling the office if speaking telephonically or by audio. An audio recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order and a quorum call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Navarro. Here. Alderwoman C.J. Walker.
Here.
Alderman Turnley.
Here.
Alderman Bellinger.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
City Secretary is here and City Attorney is here. We have a quorum.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, citizens to be heard, persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as above. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Martinez, do you want to still speak or do you want to wait until the end? Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, moving along to agenda item 4, mayor and administrator announcements and updates. At this time, I really don't have any announcements to provide or updates. We're getting into the summer, so it's going to be hot, so be sure to hydrate all our public works and our animal control and all our residents. But other than that, I mean, just stay cool. It's gonna be hot. I can already tell. All right, moving on to number 5, the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered appropriately. I think we do make, if we're gonna approve this, we need to adjust the date. It needs to read the 24th minutes, not the 23rd. We do need a motion to pull, so we can adjust.
So I move that we pull the item A from the consent agenda for discussion.
Okay, got a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Rapino to pull item A for separate discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that's unanimous.
Sir, I move that we change the date and the title of this from April 25th, 2025 at 6:30 PM to read April 24th, 2025 at 6:30 PM.
I'll second. All right, I got a motion to adjust the date by our Mayor Pro Tem to April 24th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. And a second by Alderman Rapino. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Sir, I also move to add to item 7C, the statement that no action was taken at the discussion for 7C. We did discuss that, but no action was taken. It's left blank. I think we should have something in there that just states no action taken.
Got you.
So I move to add to 7C, no action taken.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to add in no action taken on agenda item 7C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
So if there's no further discussion, I move to accept the meeting minutes for the meeting on April 24th as amended.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Alderman Rapino to accept the consent agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. All right. Thank you very much. Moving right along. Agenda item 6A, the income and expenses for April 2025 will be reported by the City Secretary Delma Doyle for possible discussion and or action. Ma'am, you do have the floor.
General fund, the beginning balance as, April the first was $553,627.58. Checks and payments cleared was $145,841.58. Statement ending at the end of April 30th, 2025 was $572,615.31. Holding on to the ARPA fund. The beginning statement as of April 1st was $76,980.39. Check component two was $55,180.96. Deposits and other credit were posted were $11,880.96, bringing the ending balance on April 30th to $33,780.39.
Just want to add a point of clarity where it does say TDA or Texas Agriculture. For as long as we've been around, or as long as we've had this grant, that from the TDA always goes into the ARPA account, even though we've tried to change it with them. So you will see this one, you will see one more next month from Texas Agriculture coming in and it goes right back out. So yeah, just want to give you all that bit of information. Yes.
The beginning balance of the TDA agreement, starting with the first was $16,574.20, and the ending balance of the fund was activity on that.
And that account should close likely by the end of this month, as we are now done with the project and we're making our final payments. So you should see transfers out of this into the general fund by the next reporting session. It is open for questions now, if there are any. As y'all requested, the statement of activity detail has been included in your financial packet, which provides a better itemized view of the transactions flowing in and out from the bank account. So there should be enough explanation there to at least arm you with some information should anybody have questions about it.
How did you manage that?
It's been a report that's been sitting around. In fact, I publish it every month. I just never provided it in the agenda
Okay.
or in the meeting. But yeah, it's just a matter of what flows in comes with a good description, what doesn't, like a check, just comes under as a number, trying to add some detail to that. But there's probably 5-7 years of detail of this report posted on the website for everybody to review.
If there's no discussion, I move that we accept um, the financial report as reported or as presented.
You have a motion to accept the financial report as presented. Do I have a second? All right, and I have a second by Alderman, so I have a motion presented by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderman Fillinger to accept the financial report as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No? All those opposed?
No,
Right? The motion carries 4-1. Moving right along. Public Works updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla Smith with possible discussion and or action. Ma'am, you do have the floor.
Council. I've been working on the light project, for the community, some areas where we're needing street lights.
Well, hold on.
No,
Go
you're gonna
through.
do something else?
Well, go through your Public Works part and then I'm gonna actually jump to that part. So that way we stay talking to the line items.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I'll skip.
Then nothing for Public Works.
No.
Okay. No discussion on 7A, then we can jump to agenda item 11C. Pam, you have the floor.
So I've been working on the light project and, the map. Kind of exciting. As many times as I've driven the streets, you never really paid attention to street lights and how dark it is out there. So, I know that the city doesn't own or have any rights to this, Priest Road curve. But I don't know if council or somebody may be able to make a suggestion to CPS maybe. But this real sharp curve here, notice that there is a light that does exist in the green right here on Priest Road. But it's over there
In the
on that little corner thing that when you take the curve to the left, it's to the right. There is no street light at all. And that was like 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:40 or something that I took off and I was like, it's really dark. So my recommendation is in this green one here that they need a light of that curve. I traveled.
Can I address that?
Do what, sir?
Can I address?
Yes, sir.
That's no problem because it's within our ETJ and it is a health and safety matter, so we have authority to do that.
I figured we did, but I just wanted to just put my thoughts into that because I'd like to see that actually happen.
I'd actually like to see us put some reflective markers on that corner.
That's a subject that's important for me because that's a real bad area, period, that I need to get council involved in this whole Priest Road curve-ish. Can't tell you how many times I'm almost been hit head on. So a light here at the curve, right here at Priest Road. I traveled down Mathis Road and, I know this looks like a lot of already beginning of little red pegs of like, that's already a lot of lights. It's not as bad as it seems. I would actually like to see more lights than what's actually on here. And I still got the rest of the neighborhood to do. The black ones over here, I noticed it, you travel Star Oak outside the neighborhood, travel Star Oak to Storm Oak. And where it tees, they actually have, and I'll bring it to y'all closer. They actually have 3 lights at this intersection, pretty much. So this individual that lives on the corner is getting a substantial amount of light on his property, just right here. So my suggestion is where these black pegs are, is that I don't know if CPS would be able to move. Okay, I can't do it now. Move one of these lights a little further down on Storm Oak, as I've indicated here. Because I don't think 3 lights need to be at that intersection when that entire cul-de-sac, except for until you get to the cul-de-sac, that whole street has no street lights. So,
Can I look at that closer, please?
Sure. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Used to be.
So when you take Star Oak, it'll tee into Storm Oak down here at the outside the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And down here in this area, there is a light there, and there. I'm so sorry, ma'am.
No, you're fine, get ready.
Three lights there.
Okay.
And it's lighting up this entire gentleman's property. I think if we could ask CPS to maybe move one of those lights a little further down into this cul-de-sac because there's absolutely no lights. As you can see, none. We've got 3 here, but we have none going this way at all. On Storm Oak to the left.
And those, yeah, are in fact residential lights that we are paying for.
These are actually our lights we're paying for. These are not private lights, and that's, I know the difference between street lights and a customer wants the light on their private property. It angles more towards their property. Our street lights face the street. So that's my suggestion is that maybe when this is all said and done, that I color code this, but it's just the beginning. Also, when I traveled down Dragon Rock, I didn't understand it, but down here on Dragon Rock, there are no lights. From the beginning, there is one at the intersection, but once you travel down Dragon Rock, that's a long stretch with no lighting. And when you're traveling it may not seem like it, but when you're traveling, it is a long distance until you get to the next street light. And when you get to the next street light, there's a little cluster of 3 together, one over here, there, and I thought it makes no sense to me. So I'd like to see more lighting up on Dragon Rock along with the rest of the community, but I'm not done because
Do you recommend removal of one, of at least one of those 3 that are clumped together?
Relocation.
It kind of,
Relocation.
I would say no, and the reason is because of how far. Now, I don't know the footage as far as how many feet from that pole to the next one, that the little cluster happens. It's almost like
The lights dispersed.
they're kind of
appropriately.
perfectly placed,
Okay, thank
if
you.
that makes any sense.
Yes, ma'am.
I got a pen here. I don't know what
Yes.
happened to it. Do you have an extra pen? Or just put one of the black ones for now.
Okay,
I have it on Dreamview.
okay. Yes,
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah, Citizen did reach out to me and did request one on Dreamview, so.
and there will definitely be some suggestions for Dreamview because I did see that on the map. There are no lights on Dreamview.
Okay.
There will be, though, when I get done. My recommendation, there will definitely be recommendations for Dreamview to have more than just a cul-de-sac light and an intersection light.
Yeah.
There are no lights on that whole street.
Yeah.
So yes, I
Okay.
do agree with you. So that's pretty much the gist of it for right now. But I'll come back with y'all with more. And I don't know if y'all want me to just wait to present this when I'm completely done. to
Yeah, we can
present
just
it to
keep
y'all?
talking through it.
Okay, sounds good. So that's pretty much it. I just began this, so I still got a long ways to go and we'll get it taken care of. So I
And we
don't,
have a list here, ones suggested by the police department, if we could get those incorporated onto that as well.
okay,
Then we can look at them all and then as a whole, the council can evaluate all of the recommendations. and
Sure.
make a decision.
most definitely. I wasn't aware of that list, but okay. Most definitely. I'll get a copy of that and tag it on here. I mean-
While we're discussing streetlights, at one point, we had actually approved streetlights on Priest Grove. I think what happened is they had it changed in our point of contact
Mhm.
at Salt and it just disappeared.
Or CPS.
I know that we generated the letter authorizing it on the city letterhead, but nothing's ever happened.
We can just include those recommendations with this project here. I
Yeah,
think, And we address it that way.
yeah, somewhere we should have a record of and map of what CPS had
Mhm.
recommended on Priest Road. Cause it is really dark down. Priest
There,
Road.
it is, and I have to agree with you, but there's also a lot of residents, believe it or not, I know this sounds silly, but a lot of residents don't want the streetlights. But I would say somewhere down the Priest Road, they need
No
it.
matter what we
I know.
do,
Yes, sir.
somebody's not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
It's okay,
Are
but
these, are we gonna give the citizens a voice and saying, no, I don't want that street light there?
No,
If
I
we,
don't think-
no,
I mean-
we're gonna make the, we're gonna make the decision based on the recommendations we received. Is
I'm
that the plan?
thinking that
yes, ma'am.
we should, because
That's the man.
Well, we gave them the choice to request one too, so I think
Right,
it's fair that, if we light up Priest Road like a Christmas tree, we ask Priest Road, do y'all want this, right?
but that's what I'm asking. Are we going to say, are there any issues with this proposed lighting once the council makes a decision? Are we just gonna go forward once the council makes? a
I think
decision?
once we say, look, this is what we recommend, let's put it out there, let's float it some more.
Okay.
And
so
say,
you-
hey, this
so
is what you
do
want,
intend to
complain if
propose
you
it?
want to,
Okay,
and then,
but we're not gonna give them the final say, but allow
Right.
them to have a voice once
Right.
we have a recommendation.
I think
Okay,
that's fair.
thank you, sir.
the recommendation from CPS is one light approximately every 1/10 of a mile.
Hmm.
Okay. Some of those lights are gonna end up right in from front of somebody's house.
Yep.
Okay, now the question is, does that person have the right to say, well, I don't want the street lit because it shines in my bedroom, or do they have the right to buy a new set of curtains?
yeah,
Put some blackout curtains in your bed.
But every time, these are LEDs, they're not, they really don't
yeah,
project a lot of
right, and they
Okay.
project down.
Yeah, yeah.
downward, so.
Yeah, public
Shouldn't be a
safety comes
problem.
first.
Yeah.
But the last time that we extended lighting on Waterwood Pass, we had continuous complaints for about 2 months. So, like I say, no matter what we do, somebody's gonna be unhappy, but
Yeah.
I didn't get a light, or I didn't want a light.
Well, they want to like, they
Our-
have an opportunity to speak up.
Our question should be, for the safety of the street,
Exactly.
do we need a light here?
Yeah, I think that's what we need to go
You know,
by.
that's what we need to address is the safety.
That's tantamount to. what
I'm
we-
done.
Where'd you get that, Mike?
Oh, this is Google Maps.
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
You need a copy of like, I can send you the copy of that.
okay, great.
So for this agenda item, we're just gonna ask Public Works
To continue.
continue on.
And
Good enough.
is this everything from the police department, or do they
No, that-
intend to evaluate some more?
They can evaluate more, that's just one officer that. I
Okay,
have
that's the
working
initial as well.
Right now, yeah.
So police department as well. will
Yeah,
continue.
so just work with whoever's working at night to see where they're addressing.
Yeah, and that's.
This is
what-
an intersection, Waterwood Pass.
Anyways, just address it after the fact.
There's no cost for them to put away.
There's no cost for them to install. It's just our monthly fee,
Let's do it,
$10.
$10 away.
That's
Alright.
all I have, unless y'all have something else for me.
Nope. All right, we will move along. Okay, we're gonna roll past agenda 8A, agenda item 8A. As our animal control officer is not present today. However, you do have the report. So it's up to y'all. Do y'all want me to put it back on the next agenda or just forward it until the following month?
I'm fine with just viewing it here, and then also I would ask, are we going to start posting this on the animal control page on the city's website? Instead of like reading off the numbers every month?
I agree, totally.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
should
And the same thing with PD.
with PD.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to bring this back. I think this is sufficient. If we have any questions, we can bring them up to you right
You can
now.
go directly, yep. Okay. Then we will roll past that item and move on to agenda item 9A, updates and announcements and presentation of monthly report from Chief Juarez with possible discussion and action. Sir, you have the floor.
So I don't have any updates or announcements as far as anything new. As far as the stats go for the month prior, I guess they were posted. If you have any questions, I'll go through if you have any questions. I do want to point out again that the call for service, total calls for service, we answered 114 opposed to Bear County's 78. So it is tilting more and more in our favor as the city is handling their own calls for service. So But if there's any questions on what any of these incidents may be, or I'd be happy to answer them, but I guess, they are posted, and then of course, the citations, or not citations, but traffic stops are posted as well. The closed cases, and then the, city ordinance violations are on the, following page. Yes, sir.
Question, and I don't know that I've seen this in the past, but, in your calls, during that month, let's say the month of April, even, March, your arrest numbers.
Okay, so no, I don't have those listed in here. I can start posting arrests, I have not, but also keep in mind that that's never gonna be a true reflection based on cases, right? Cause I may have, for example, last month, we had aggravated assault and burglary, right? We did make some arrests on the aggravated assault. We are now getting warrants for burglary, so those arrests will show for this month, but the offense took place last month. So there's never gonna be a true perception rest per case. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? Cause the case may have occurred, or the sexual assault from 2 months ago. We're still working on warrants for some of those. These are offenses that occurred 2 months ago. The arrests will probably take place here next week or so. So we may have a bunch of arrests with not that many cases this month, and last month we have a bunch of cases and not that many arrests, because they don't fall. You don't arrest somebody every time you respond, but you might get a warrant for them, or we might do what's called file at large. That's another option that we do in a lot of cases where you commit an offense. I didn't arrest you, I did an investigation, I now have probable cause to arrest you, but instead of arresting you, I'm forwarding the case to the district attorney's office, filing at large. An indictment comes to go in front of a grand jury, they indict you, now you're gonna be summoned to go to court, but you never were arrested on the charge, but now you got to still show for court and charge.
Okay, along with that, is it, possible, or I've seen other cities, little towns, whatever, will actually publish the names of individuals arrested and the offense. And it's actually published in the newspapers, Bandera, for example, they will actually
Right.
publish, put the name in the paper. The offense was so-and-so, arrested for burglary.
Oh, yeah, sure, I mean,
Even though they haven't gone to
Used all
trial,
time.
they were arrested.
Okay.
Granted, they haven't been found guilty, but
They were arrested, right?
they're arrested.
Right, there were probable cause for the arrest. So yeah, you see it in the news all the time. Someone was arrested for evading or something of that nature. But you never see all the names, right? There's no way a city has published all the names, but we can. That can be something we can.
Could we just
implement.
incorporate into your monthly report, arrest and a number?
You can do that too.
And not go, we don't need to go as far as, arrests. Let's say you had 7 arrests. We don't need to know that it was, 2 for burglary, driving without or intoxication, you arrest them. Or you could put it along that line item. Reckless driving 2/1A, 1 arrested.
Right.
Just to,
Yeah, we can implement that. Going on to the other topic that you're saying, I don't agree with putting people's names for the simple reason of you can be arrested for anything. I can make allegations on you, grand jury can indict you. And now I put your name in the paper and Mr. Friendly was arrested for offense A. Then you go to court and you're found not guilty, right? I don't personally agree with putting somebody's name in there when they've not gone to court, been tried by their peers and found guilty. I don't agree with putting people's names in the paper. I don't agree with, I mean, sure, they were arrested. There was probable cause for the arrest. Doesn't mean they did it. Doesn't mean they're guilty, right? So obviously, some cases, you're probably gonna put the name in there. I mean, you got a homicide out here and somebody's arrested and the media's gonna be here. They're gonna know who did it. Sure. But for all of you, because we don't have many arrests per month in San Diego, I wouldn't want to put everybody's name out there. not everybody's guilty of the crime they're accused of, so. I personally don't wanna do it. I mean, if you guys want me to do it, I'll do it. I don't wanna do it. I don't mind putting the amount of rest that we have.
If we can just go that far, like I said, with the line item in the report, if you have it, if you submitting it this way, like I say, disturbance family 4, 2 A's, 2 arrested. It just gives us a better, vision of the crime that's going on in the city, backs up our intentions as far as, what you need as the department. We see
Right.
what's actually going on, what you're up against, daily, monthly.
But like,
But we need to realize though, it could be 0 thefts, but 1 arrest because the arrest was related to a theft that happened the previous month, based on his explanation earlier. So we just have to realize that that's gonna.
Right, it would be in this, and
Reporting.
address it to the monthly report that you're providing. So next month it would be May. And,
Right.
and on that one, you could go with the line item, whatever it was, 3, and you had 1 arrest in this.
but I think what she's saying is there's always gonna be that extra line item of arrests that pertain to absolutely nothing from this line item of reports. In other
Because he
words,
could have had 3 thefts this month and in the month of April, right? But he doesn't do the arrest until May. So you don't want him to repeat.
So can we
in
just
the-
do a line item of arrest?
Yeah,
Five
there
or
we go.
number?
so that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, cause for
Okay.
example, if you look from here, there was 0 sexual assault this past month.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Prior month, 11.
That's
So
exactly.
if we had arrested somebody for it already, what line item would I put that in?
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? So I don't mind putting, total arrest 5. I can let you all know right off the bat, last month we had 5 arrests. That's all we had for the entire month. For the month of April, and all these stats that we have, there was 5 arrests. Now, we are working on warrants for some other stuff, but there was 5 actual on-site arrests. So I do have
I think that.
that.
would be
go along with, what all the,
With the way she
like Jared
did,
said,
okay,
just a separate line item for arrest and give us a number.
a numbered amount, got it.
We need a motion to action that.
I don't think so.
I think we can have that included in the next one.
Okay, well, I'll put it in the notes that it is requested to add in the number of arrests.
And then I had a question.
Yes,
too.
ma'am.
At the last meeting, we approved, allowing the expenditure to get that integration of reports to help your officers do their job.
Right.
Do we have a timeline for that?
So the mayor reached out to me earlier today, and I don't know if you saw the email I sent back to you.
No,
Justin was the person, was the guy we spoke to. That's how this whole thing got started. He
Right.
said, okay, reach out to the, what is it, I3
yeah,
verticals?
I do vertical.
And now I3 Verticals reached out to Justin, and he's saying he had no knowledge of it, so I will have to reach back out to Justin and say, hey, what do we need to do to get it integrated? But that just came about today.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
been moving. I3 Verticals is aware of it.
I just know it's gonna help your officers do their job, so I
Yeah.
just wanna make sure that we're moving forward with that.
Well, it's
but that
gonna-
And it's
Invoice
It's gonna help
has
our
30
court.
days.
It's gonna help
Excuse me?
Jeremy.
Primarily, it's gonna help our court.
Yeah, but it's gonna help,
Yeah.
bottom line, so we need to, I just wanna make sure that we follow up and
We're
make sure
working
you're not
on it.
having any issues getting that done, chief.
Of course.
Anything else on the stats of what may have, I guess the definition of what any of these are? Anybody good?
We have no questions. We will move right along. Anybody else? All right. Okay, let's see, Parks and Rec. Updated announcement from Park Advisory Committee Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and interaction. You have the floor, sir.
Okay, we had a meeting, this past Tuesday. It was a brief meeting. We didn't discuss too much. One thing that came up was, the idea was attributed to Alderman Tremblay about, coming up with a sign for the community center. I think he suggested it at one time. Do you remember? Yeah, and so, they, have requested that we get a sign for the community center, and I wanted to ask our director if they could come up with a sign rather than spend a lot of money on coming up with buying the sign or getting one made. You know, I know you,
Maybe a banner with a frame around it.
or a piece of plywood with a stencil that, or something. I know you have, you know, a vast knowledge of many ways to create something like that, so,
I'll get with you on that.
okay.
Good.
And,
Could I ask you a question?
sure,
How about if we post on Nextdoor and at the community center, a, design contest? And open it up for 30 days and let people put into it, because we have some really like good artists here in town.
yeah, we could do that too,
Might-
that would,
Might
yeah,
give us a, give them a 4x8 sheet of plywood and say, do this. And then our public works people they're more than adequately, equipped and able to mount a 4x8 piece of plywood.
yeah, I will bring that up to, Ray Lynn and have them see what they think about that and then put it out.
We should have them submit it like on a piece of poster board or something. This is my recommendation, or even draw it up electronically and
yeah.
then provide
Well,
the
they'll come up
winner.
with
the plywood.
the parameters for doing that on, and let them put it out on Nextdoor or on the
Yeah.
internet. And
So we're getting, several dozen people, and not just seniors, some young folks are coming in for the different meetings
sure,
and events that we're having down there.
that's a good idea. So, well, I'll bring it up to Ray Lynn and we'll explore that and see what we can come up with. And then next month's meeting will be on June the 3rd. And there was one other issue, but it's a small thing and we'll just handle that.
June 3rd at 5:30?
Yes, 5:30, yes. And that's all I have. Thank you, Priscilla.
All right.
Charles.
Moving right along, agenda item 11A. I do actually, I know I'm gonna get your update, but I do want you to think about the holiday schedule as you're working through it. But maybe not for what you're thinking, not less days, right? What I'm thinking is for our patrol officers that are having to work over holidays. So we may have to have more holidays for those that are, for at least our police department.
I'll talk to the police chief and
Yeah.
get his recommendations and suggestions.
Yeah, so case in point, Easter was it's not a holiday that we acknowledge per se, because there's nobody off, right? Because everybody's off on Sundays. But police aren't, and it's part of their regular shift. They were paid normal hours. Now granted, they were paid their normal hours because they worked their normal hours. But one could argue that it is a holiday for most people. And could they have gotten, double time, time and a half, whatever it is for that particular holiday? Who knows? But just something to consider.
Yes, sir. Definitely have a conversation with the chief and see what kind of recommendations he has. We do need to look at the holiday schedule because the holiday schedule you put out to the employees does not match the holiday schedule in the personnel policy.
Okay,
So, yeah, we need to deconflict that as well.
okay.
So.
Any other updates?
So, as I mentioned last time, we were talking about doing the restructure and, Alderwoman Walker's actually taken on the task of reorganizing the content and trying to figure out what some of the duplications are and doing the formatting to provide the numbering to the different sections. So that's, going to take a little bit of time to get that restructured, but if you actually look through it, you'll see some of the topics are covered multiple times. It's not necessarily in the appropriate order. So that's what's being cleaned up now by restructuring. And that's going to be the bulk of the changes that we're going to bring back from what was presented before. There will be a few other edits to it as well, stuff we deleted because of the duplication, but it's primarily restructuring.
Anything else to add?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for the update. We will move right along then. Discuss and or update on property improvement plan provided by property owner of residential address 3807 Waterwood Pass, Sandy Oaks, Texas 78112. Mr. Reagan, you do have the floor.
Thank you again, City
Yeah,
Council,
thank you.
for this opportunity just to speak to you and give you an update. What you have here obviously is just kind of like the the first time that we presented thing, and then the last page, of course, is where we are now. And I'm really excited about how far we've gotten. Made a lot of progress. Mr. John here came by today and offered to help me haul out the trash. So it's really coming along nicely. I also spoke to Mr. Guajardo, and he said he's still got a couple more months on the house. So sounds like we're tracking. It's going very well. And though even with the weather, so trying to work with the weather too. So if there's any other concerns or anything, I'm here to answer.
It does look like you're on track. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We've got about 30% of the house going. So it's a process.
Yes, sir, it is.
It is, it really is. So, yeah, especially when you're doing it primarily by hand. I did meet with the Deer Creek Camp again, and they're gonna let me borrow a little tractor. John also offered his tractor, so it sounds like we've got everything we need to keep going. I also got with a fence friend of mine. We go way back, and so he's gonna help me build a new fence. And, you know, friend to friend, so that way we'll have that labor expense, just the material, so.
I would remind you, there is a permit application. It's no fee for it, just to lay out what your plans were.
Yeah, so right now, we're just gonna do a fence between the two properties, so I would like to get with you
Yeah,
on
so
that.
the city
So-
secretary should be able to provide you that permit so you can write up what you're doing.
Okay, okay.
So.
As far as any code or anything like that, with some
So
things
use a
that.
code with
I'm-
it too, and that's referenced in the permit, just material that can and cannot be used, like
Right.
barbed wire. that
There was
kind
some
of stuff.
things, places we were unclear on that, and so I also passed that on to the friend of mine that's doing the fence. So,
The
he's gonna,
ordinance is posted and referenced in the permit application, which no charge for, just for
Okay.
tracking purposes. We
great,
request that.
great, great.
Have you talked to Hector
Yes.
Guajardo about if you're gonna put a fence in between the properties, as well as
Oh, yeah.
the property on the other side of you and the property in the back, which is,
Yeah.
there's Hector.
Yeah, it's a little bit
So,
at
I
a
mean,
time.
most
So-
places, most cities, I mean, in
Yeah.
your neighborhoods, it's a shared fence.
Yeah.
So you could be looking at sharing that cost. By
Well,
putting that fence.
I offered to do the fence between my place and the new house. So what happens in the back and what happens with the other neighbor, that's yet to be discussed,
Mhm.
but,
But I was, talking
Yeah.
to Hector. I mean,
Yeah,
he's-
yeah. No, I offered to take care of that one. So that was already a deal I made with him.
Okay.
So if he wants to pay for half of it, that's great, but I didn't ask him, so I just offered. So just for good relations, Great. So anything else?
Nope.
All right, great. Thank you
All
again.
right. Thank you, Mr. Reagan. Appreciate your time. All right. Well, I think that takes us to the next part. To discuss agenda item 12A, executive session to deliberate a change in compensation for animal control officer and related matters pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, Personnel Matters. The time is now 7:13. We are in executive session. All right, time is now 7:19. That is the fastest executive session we've had. All right, moving on to agenda item 12B, discussing a possible action on a change in compensation for animal control officer. My recommendation for our animal control officer, Cassandra Gorzel, is a $2 increase in compensation due to the completion of her animal control officer license.
Sure, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Are we also promoting her because currently she is the animal control technician?
That is correct. Yes,
We are promoting her to
animal control officer.
control officer. Because she's certified now, she can use that now. Your recommendation,
$2 increase in pay.
okay, nothing else will change, so. I move that we increase animal control officer Cassandra's pay by $2 an hour,
I'll second.
starting at the next pay period.
That goes for me too.
All right, so I have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to increase the compensation for animal control officer Cassandra by $2, beginning in the next pay period. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. And as far as the, so kind of taking it way back to the citizens to be heard, we were going to talk, one-on-one with I'm gonna talk one-on-one with our citizens, so he elected not to take his time. All right, I
Move
think
to adjourn.
we have now, it is now 7:21, we are adjourned. Thoughts?
No.
We-